Hello again. It's Mr. C, episode 11. Yay! It's amazing because I should have done this for episode 10, but I forgot. A milestone nonetheless. Look at us breezing through these episodes. Um, anyway, this film we discussed today is interesting. I think you hear a lot of us talk about it almost in two halves. Um, it was a fascinating watch, just from somebody who um, like cares about the way things are put together to try to deconstruct. But um, always good to hear film club members dissect things in their own very personal ways. We do have a filmmaker jump on to give us his perspective. That's not uncommon. You will see that as film club grows. But yeah, I hope you do enjoy this one. And I think you will, to be honest. So, without too much delay, I hope you enjoy Nollywood Film Club discussing The Man for the Job. You know what? We'll get to it. We'll get to it. But Fida, do you want to start us with the things that you like about The Man for the Job?
Hi.
Hi.
Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday, Fida.
Happy Sunday.
Okay, so I have my list here. Hi, everyone. And I'm ready to go. Okay. So can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So my first thing was that I liked how they established the type of family man Joseph was and the relationship he had with his wife. I'm going to start with the short ones first. I like the angles. I like the lighting for the breakfast scene when they took lights, and the light from the windows in the kitchen was in the perfect line of view of Joseph and his wife. So that was good. There was this scene where they were in the bathroom, and I thought that the camera was directed at them. And then they came forward, and it was kind of like a mirror kind of thing, which I liked as well. There was a thing I felt like the movie had like different tells. Like, for example, the first time Mr. Lai told Joseph, if you continue being passive, you'll never make it in business. And then in the car with Zina said the same thing. So I felt like that was kind of like a tell of their relationship early on in the film. So then one of my favorite scenes was, and I wrote it here, I love the mask ball scene. And I said, as soon as Esohe walked in and I saw the guests well dressed with masks, I thought to myself, yes, budget. So the beautiful song they played was Nowhere to Hide, which was befitting for the scene, especially when the song started to pick up. All of a sudden, you see the masked dancers on the floor and the tempo rises, and I just had to let out a little cheer because I love like musical numbers. So then when Zina walks away from her Sohe and gives that Bond girl walk as she walks through the dancers, I'll talk about that later. What got me was when they got to the bridge of the song and we heard the singer shout, "One whammy." And honestly, yes, Esohe was looking for Zina there and then. Then we see Esohe coming to the dance floor and then she gets twirled and dipped. And I'm like, yes. No, I love that. That really got me. And so, like, the intensity of the song increases, and Zina is running down the stairs with her Sohe right behind her, and the lyrics of the song are describing the scene once again. I thought the fall of the third kick gave the right amount of pain, even though the woman that was holding the kick was not quick to react. I mean, that was a kick that was like how many tears, and he fell on the floor. So then when you now hear the lyrics, nothing to hide, nowhere to hide, Esohe now turns around and is surprisingly pushed into the pool, and the slow motion as she's mid-air, I love that. And then when the song now hits that powerful end, I have got nothing to hide, and they drag that she drags that line, and Esohe just sinks into the pool. And then the camera switched to Zina's back with that nice backless dress and the splash of water. I love that angle, and I thought it was a wonderful scene that they could have sold the movie to me with that. I like watching Uzo Arukwe. I think that when he first started, he used to take all these roles where he was like an abusive boyfriend or husband, and I was like, this new actor, why is he always acting in these roles? Then he switched to nice guy roles, and then he became interchangeable. So I see him as a dynamic actor. He's quite funny, and I loved him in Progressive Taylor's Club, which was another new movie. So then one thing about Uzo is that he's quite intense. So I love that scene where Joseph tells Esohe that they stole his work. And that's what I like about him. He can act out serious and intense scenes easily and with great magnitude. So the delivery of his words made us feel his pain and the air of betrayal around him. And another intense scene was when he lashed out at Tega for stealing his work. Once again, he was carrying that scene. He felt the frustration and anger, especially when he said, "Fuck you, you bastard." And I was like, yeah, I feel that. Especially as we'd all seen him remaining calm all through his frustrations, even when he tried to text Tega about stealing his work, but ended up deleting it. So then I also like the cute scene in the car where he's smiling to himself after obtaining that promotion and holding flowers for his wife. The flashback scene in which they learn their son has sickle cell and Esohe is leaning on him as he cries, I found that it was touching, especially when it's clear that the sacrifices Esohe has made as a mother. So then as she consoles him, I liked how the scene transitioned to in which she's leaning on him and speaking. Also comedic how he announces his promotion and she opens her eyes widely and the music stops immediately. I found that humorous. Another thing I liked was that transition scene from Esohe smoking to the smoke from Zina's apartment that was on fire. But I didn't catch it the first time, but the two computer screens made me realize it wasn't Esohe's house that was on fire because I was worried about her and the children. Another scene I liked was the scene. Well, they said Joseph was arrested and Mr. Lai and Tega were there, but I felt like it was just an office scene. But I liked the lights. I liked the conversation between Joseph and Tega with them facing opposite directions. I liked that angle, and it could also be intentional because I felt like maybe some of the scenes in the film had intention. For example, with with them facing different directions, it could show how it could be intentional to show how Joseph and Tega's lives went in different directions, with Tega embracing the changing world he was talking about, while Joseph stayed in the place he knew well, his comfort zone, so he could make money for his family. Then I loved the dynamic duo that was Joseph and Esohe's pairing. You could see the actions they made within their roles to be the best father and husband and wife and mother they could be for their family. The first half shows Joseph doing his part, and that is solidly shown in his side hustle and wanting to raise 6 million for their visa application while paying hospital bills. However, behind the scenes, Esohe's force as a wife and mother can be felt, quitting her job to work from home so she can be attentive towards her son's health, countless hospital visits. Then Esohe steps to the forefront towards the next half of the movie as Joseph spends the weekend in prison to help catch Zina and prove the innocence of her husband. I felt like Esohe's character was so impressive. From when she went to the computer village to get the phone she could use to copy Zina's own phone. I think possibly the small fight scene she had with the guy in the market may have been to show her hidden strength and give an idea of the woman she used to be. So her entry into Computer Village welcomes us back into her past, which is cemented by her ex-boyfriend, who was also enjoyable to watch. And her stuffing two joints into her brow was funny. Hello. Then my last like was when they all got together in the final scene and Mr. Lai is like, okay, now let's share the money. In the brief pause before the four characters react, I asked myself, what would I do in that case? And I realized I would share the money. That's not right. Then I realized what isn't right is false righteousness. Considering how rich and influential Mr. Lai is and the authorities he can control, might as well just grab the money and move to Canada for real. Then, last one, the final touch was when, in response to the sharing of money, they all walk slowly to the middle of the room. Then there's a knock on the door, and everyone swivels their head to the source of the sound. Then it shows the credits. I love that. And those are my likes. Thank you.
Thank you, Faida.
Oh my god. Well, maybe I shouldn't have let you go first. Just taking all of my points. Maybe all of the points. Good lord. But yes, still all but two of my points, Fida. But yes, this is. I guess it's good to.
I think we should always start with Faida.
Well, I don't know.
So positive.
Maybe we should put her in the middle because.
No, we need to start with the positivity.
Because we need to lift
the spirits.
Sometimes at some point you need to lift it.
And then we just call Faida back now.
All these bad belly people. All right. Ainka, please go on. What the stuff you liked about
Faida has said most of all my likes. So thank you, Faida, for maybe this time I'll speak less, That's not gonna happen. I talk too much.
Yeah,
Oh,
We love
you
you.
know what? You know what? I have
Put
to
it.
now. Everything that Vaida said, I loved. Also, let me just say something. There's a reason why a lot of men have a crush on Iniedo, and like I will always kind of be a fan of Iniedo because, well, was a part number one of my favorite films. Number two, there's also another movie that she did with Olu Jacobs where I thought Iniedo can give good performances, and I'm very happy that she got this role. And I thought this role was perfect for Iniedo. Um, so blocking, let's talk about blocking because one thing that Nigeria movies don't sometimes do, and also Tyler Perry movies and some American movies, okay, movies sometimes don't do is blocking. And this movie does have blocking, as Farida said, right? It even has intentional visual language. Like she talked about the scene where Tega and Joseph, like they sit opposite to each other. That loved, nice, wonderful. Yes. Does it make sense that a police something will look like that? No, but this is a movie. I loved it. I loved that whole entire something. I love the lighting. Um, the skin, the people's skin were popping. It was just beautiful and amazing. I was just like, loved it. Loved the cinematography in it. It was beautiful. It was all those things. Um, uh, I also want to talk about the twists here. There's a lot of different twists that happens that doesn't feel like a twist. And I have to say, I give it up for the movie because it didn't. I'm talking like this because I just finished watching a Korean show, Big Mouth, and that the twist is just ridiculous. But like, it didn't feel like a twist. We thought who was the villain, and the villains keeps on changing even though in the end it was supposed to be Mr. Lai, and it makes sense that it's Mr. Lai. He's a rich man who owns the businesses and does those things, and it makes sense that in the end it is him. I even love the ending. I don't want them to make a part two. We don't need to know what happened. I think it ended well. Um, yeah, I. It's just it. I also even to talk, this is the type of movie where we are like talking about okay, this is the female character in this is like actually well written, in many ways. She's not like sh- it's one. I like this movie. I don't have many criticism of it. It does seem like they did their research about like the space that they're talking about. They did it believably enough for people to believe that okay, you did some sort of research, which is good. Um, Yeah, this movie was a good entertaining. Even my cousin liked it. My cousin liked it, and he had nothing to say. Although he did pause it because of Iniedo's um, ample looks, and I told him to stop pausing it, please. So all those, this movie was good. I don't have much to say. The cinematography was good. Um, the twist, the twist is it made sense. It worked well within it. Yes, but there's some ridiculous things where, like in Edo, you're chasing this girl, and this girl is walking across you, and you're not doing anything. So,
This is why we had to start with Friday. See,
oh, sorry. I thought it was really positive. I'm
Okay.
okay.
All right. You liked it. Thank you.
Yeah, I liked it. No, I'm being positive. Like this movie was well, it was well entertaining. It was good. It was nice. I liked it. Everything was. There
Okay.
was nothing too outrageous.
All right.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Erika. All right,
And
everybody's. Yeah, I think that's one more thing off my good list. So I've just got the one thing left. So if you guys can please just leave me that one. But yes, more things in. That scene where Uzo and Ibrahim are back to back. Yeah, I think that's a scene that works unusually well. Like the way, yes, they are blocked, and the way it's lit is nice. I think
If
it's a
you
little.
ignore the fact
Yeah,
that
that
it's
is a
a
priest.
bloody Nigerian police
Yes.
station,
Okay. Yes.
because
All
someone
right.
needs to point me to that
Okay.
police
All
station.
right. Yes.
Sorry,
Okay.
And you're telling me
Elizabeth,
that I was
tell
being
me.
something, okay?
We're on the positive.
Okay,
See?
Exactly. And
okay,
that's a very
okay. Elizabeth, hit us. What do
Okay.
you have?
Okay.
No? Oh, sorry,
Oh,
sorry.
bro. No.
No, were you still talking?
No.
Sorry,
Elizabeth.
carry on.
Okay. So I watched this last night, so last night into this morning. So let's start with the good. I like the colors, guys. I really do. I like the character introduction. I thought it was beautifully done. They just introduce us sharply so we know what's going on with Joseph's life. We see this tech company and then our major characters. Because if you really deep it, all the characters that we needed in this movie were introduced to us like in the first 10 minutes. I really rate it. I rate it a lot, especially when it is almost all this who done it kind of mystery, whatever it is called. So what else? Oh my god, some of the frames here are beautiful, guys. Some of the frames here, like some of the frames are really well shot. As in, I really appreciate. I Let me just say, I appreciate some of the white shots too, using the bank, the choice of the shots, great. Like Mr. C mentioned, the police station. I thought the lighting was. I thought it worked. I thought everything there worked. The silhouette, the shadow, everything worked. What else worked for me? The acting. Everybody has talked about it. Was acting. I'm very happy as I won't lie because the last time I saw citation, I was like, what is this? Although Inedo doesn't act when she's trying to fake accents. But that's why actors need to really just learn how to speak properly and then ease into the acting. Except for when she was saying her name was Bianca. That scene wasn't working for me. But anyways, generally overall, her acting was very decent, especially when she was emoting as this troubled mother that's been taking care of her kids all day, as sick kid, especially when she's tired from work and all of that. I thought it was really good. Uzo's acting, Uzo act. So yeah, we'll just take that. What else? Um, the music, guys. I also think the music works for this movie. Um, for the scenes where you need music to push, or rather, let's say to elevate the story, it works. And what I was saying about frames, right? Like when she lit that weed, when the computer and the headphones were burning, like you can just like frame like this frame shot by shot. You can see how beautiful they look and the music used, right? Like it just conveys exam, which is what music should do for movies. So I think that they actually worked really good there. And I love the music at the ballroom, guys. That was a really nice. That was so nice. I mean, I have the thoughts about that sequence, but we'll get there later. But really, I thought it was perfect. Look, if that scene had been tighter, we'll get to that. But if that scene had been tighter than, I mean, rather more like the editing and the choice of angles the camera was taking almost all the decisions from. If you had, especially on the dance floor during the ball, the old dance thing. With that music, I thought that scene would have just been golden. And then even at the end, the choice of music used when she was running, when she left Mr. Line. Anyways, that's all the good that I have about.
Thank you.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Lots of more positive feedback for for Nee's cinematography, really getting a lot of praise, and rightly so. It was it's undeniably quite a pretty looking film. Okay, Mel.
Yes. Hi.
Hi.
Um, yeah, I think a lot of what I liked have been mentioned already, so I'll just be running through them. Um, Inedo, Uzo, Nosa, I think Alibaba to a large extent as well. I thought carried the film. I know that Inedo's recent outings have been underwhelming. I thought that this was solid. I didn't think it was standout or anything. I thought it was just a solid performance. I feel like I need to clarify that. But yeah, so that's it for the acting for me. I liked a lot of the framing. I really, truly did. I can't remember the first frame that I was just like, okay, something is going on here, but I think that it just kept on repeating all through. That I really enjoyed. I think that's what it is. I really enjoyed a lot of the framing. Um, there's something about the setting up of scenes that I also enjoyed. I think for instance the scene where I can't remember what they're talking about, but it's breakfast time, I think, and they're at the table, I think, and Nepa takes light, and there's this light coming in from the window, and the window bars are like reflected on their faces. I really enjoyed that, just that setup, just that. I thought it looked good, but I just also really enjoyed the thought had gone to like providing like I guess daytime light. I don't know where the sentence is going, but I enjoyed that. It's the point. Just the thought that went into that. What else did I like? I feel like okay. So my final like would be that the first half, the story of the first half, or parts of the story of the first half, the story of this really intelligent man who could have been so much more. A lot of what Faida said about making sacrifices as parents, because he says no to this deal because it's too much of a risk. It's too, what's that word? There's too much uncertainty about it. It might work and then you cash out, awesome, but it might also not work. And if your child needs money for his medical bills, what then do you do as a father? So he had to pick between this adventure and going for something more stable, right? So I really enjoyed that story of two parents, but especially like this intelligent man trying to live with this decision of being underutilized, feeling underfulfilled. What's this other word? Anyway, his potential just like not being where it's supposed to be, right? I really enjoyed that. I like stories of the mundane, of just the everyday. It felt very everyday. I'm just really struggling with some of the decisions you made. It could have, would have, should have, might have been, right? So I really just really enjoyed that everyday family struggle, day to day family dynamic. I really, really enjoyed that. Just that. I think of it as sort of separate from the rest of the movie because I just thought that like it brought a little bit of heart to the film itself. Yeah, I think that's about it for me.
Thanks, Mel. That was yes. That I really felt like that first half of the film was like something close to almost kind of like what the Pursuit of Happiness did, where you see this guy who is like just going through a hard time, and he even has like a kid, and you just want him to win. And because like Uzo plays that character so well, yes, like when he starts even getting help and like getting all this small extra money, and then finally that promotion, like you are really happy for him. It's a nice feeling. Yes, I did really enjoy that first part of the film. Tammy, please speak to us. What did you like about The Man for the Job?
Hello, everybody. Glad to be back with you all again.
Right.
Right. I saw the movie today, believe it or not. In fact, I was watching the last scene just before this session started. Well, let's see now. I've got to say, the first thing I noticed, and you might call me crazy, but Xena, the villain of the movie, I thought that she was too casual as an office worker, and I'm talking about how she dressed. I noticed that nearly everyone there was dressed in a suit or anything to do with the office, really, but she was there in her jeans and those t-shirts with the slogans. I'm not sure why. Then,
I mean,
uh,
for your likes, we'll come to things we don't quite like.
we're talking about things we like.
Yes, things we like first, and then we do things.
Okay, I do apologise. Okay.
No worries.
Okay. Well, if I've I've got to say, all right. Well, one of the things I liked was the aerial shot that showed rain falling down. And it was really impressive. I don't think I've ever seen that in a Hollywood movie before, but I was seeing it in Nollywood, and I thought it was really good, really impressive. And I liked the masquerade ball as well. All those dancers with the masks and the glamorous outfits. I thought that added a touch of class to the whole movie. And is there anything else I like? Oh, yes, there's another thing. Remember the horrible Glamour Girls remake, that awful movie? One thing I didn't like in that movie was the horrible makeup, you know. Everyone was made up, I don't know, to excess, and I hated it. But in this movie, it was great to see women with their natural features. I mean, they did wear makeup, but at least you knew what they looked like. So, what they looked like, rather. So, yes, that was another thing I liked in the movie. It was really impressive. And, well, if you want to talk about other things that impressed me, there isn't much. So, I think we'll talk about the things I hate later. That's it.
All right.
Thanks.
Cheers, Tammy.
Thanks, Sammy. Is that everybody?
Yeah,
All right,
baby.
Miss
Tammy.
C. All right. What did you enjoy about The Man for the Job?
So some of this will be repetition. I think all of it's going to be repetition, but Uzo Arakwe, I love him. Absolutely, absolutely love him. I think Faida mentioned that when he started off, he was always playing the, horrible, abusive boyfriend. And I love that he's no longer pigeonholed in that. I think I dumped him in there because of his intensity, but it works across other, it works across other places. So that's fine. Inon's mentioned Ibrahim Suleiman. He's consistent, and we're sorely lacking in consistency at the moment. Iniedo's first half performance is the best I've seen her in a long, 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 long time. So I don't know if I think when she was acting alongside Uzo, I think he managed to mellow her out or tone her down. And it was the rest of the scenes where she wasn't with him that her performance kind of got a little out of hand. Then what else did I like? Yeah, a lot of the frames were nice. Actually, there was actually thought put into a number of frames in here. Um, what else? Oh yeah, so I like the idea of it, and we don't say we like the intent anymore.
No, this is just a loophole.
It's
Loopholes
a
are not
loophole.
around.
I like the premise, and I like the story of the first half. I like the story of the family man who made sacrifices, chose consistency over adventure in order to look after his family and be more responsible, and the regrets that come with that when you don't resent your family, like, but you're like, yeah, like you made the choice you thought was the right one at the time, but now it's hard, yada yada yada, all of that stuff. I like the story of friends, right, who took different paths, and that whole thing of being distant, and how that distance comes from taking different paths, and how it's not this one fucked me over, it's I was kind of ashamed of my choices and I just kept some distance. I can see that. I can see how that happens.
Mm-hmm.
I can see how you avoid the friend who's left you behind because you don't want them to see how low you've fallen, or how your choices have turned out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I liked that story up until the point where it turned into the setup. I did enjoy it.
Right. Okay. Well, I think think even Mrs. C has taken most of the things also I liked. But yes, just to reiterate, there's a lot of nice cinematography work, nice lighting, especially the ones with the blind that Fide mentioned. Um, there's Uzo and Ibrahim's Heart to Heart. Maybe went for slightly too long, but I just like the blocking and the the concept of it, because like sometimes like if that's basically like a movie poster, that scene, you could take a screenshot and just use that. um you know what, like even though like regardless of what I think of the film overall, I think I can turn this movie on and watch this first 45 minutes again. I might not, just because you know of other things, but I enjoy so much of the way it was put together, because like even if you think about some of the scenes, like sometimes you think we just write scenes and without thinking about the next scene and how they bleed into each other. But this one is, yeah, like edits are written in the scene. So like Ibrahim goes, oh, we'll have it done in a month, and then it cuts to the next scene. Ibrahim's like, we can't do this within a month. That kind of thing. It's like, but like it's not that, it's not necessarily even that that they the jokes were funny all the time, but it's thinking about, oh, we've put this project as a whole and not we're just shooting this scene by scene. And that happened quite a bit, again, especially in the first half. There are a couple of similarities I saw with um, Blood Sisters in the plot, especially in the second half. We'll come to that a little later. But um, this is, I think when I came out of the cinema, I said something like, if you like the setup, you should watch this one, because I feel like this is a better version of the setup. Because like if you really like the setup, then you didn't mind that convoluted, or you liked the what I think is slightly convoluted towards the end. It has it has that in this, but it also has this really nice family felt drama, I think, at the beginning. But yeah, I enjoyed um, this the first part of this. But yeah, all right. Having said that, we can start moving to the bad, and let's start with the nicest person of all time, Fida. What did you not quite enjoy about the man for the job?
All right, thank you. The first thing I didn't like were the flashbacks. I felt like towards the end they could have had a different color grading, so we knew we were going back in time. The use of flashbacks to tell the background of the story became tedious towards the end, especially with the story of Laya and Zena. In fact, I don't think the storyline of Laya and Zena, I thought I was weak and didn't help tie the movie properly. Then the next one, this was the one that really made me, and I know that it may make me look like a certain person. I didn't like the sex scene. No, thank you. That's what I wrote there. I said the first thing I thought was her nightgown needs to be off at least. Can we get a bare chest or even a bra strap? I felt like the camera was so intrusive in that scene. Like, why was it on her face? Why was that lamp on? It would have been better off. I felt like, what's the intention? I'm sorry, but what's the intention with that sex position? I thought that, was it to show that the sex is more of an afterthought? Because if we're to do the scene again, I wanted to like really bring it out. I'd have said that like a silhouette would have been better. You already had the sounds. You could already hear the bed. You could already see Uzo moving. I mean, a different position would have been better. And then if the camera was like further back, it would have been like you're peeking into an intimate situation as opposed to being intrusive and having a close-up shot on Innie's face. Yeah, that wasn't cute. Then the next one was Zena's Bond girl walk during during the dancing. And I felt like it would have worked if she believed she was a Bond girl. She looked hesitant. And you can't do Bond girl and hesitant at the same time. It's like, if you choose one. Then I read What Kept Me Up's review on her acting, and it was a simple sentence, which I like that they put that. They said that there is room for improvement, and that is so true. Like for me, before her next movie, she should just adopt an acting coach if she doesn't have already, and refine. Like Timmy Otedola is what I mean. Like she should just do that. You already have the platform. I'm just saying. The next one I didn't like was Tega's outfit, the turtleneck and suits, because it doesn't suit our climate. I also wondered if it was intentional, that after we started to see that it wasn't bad, he started dressing normally. Maybe because it was also the weekend in the movie, but I felt like there may have been an intention in the outfit change, because it sort of looked like a villain with the turtleneck for me, especially with the red suits, and they clashed. But when we started to see him as an ally, he was dressing in t-shirts and trousers and he looked cute. The scene where Amy and her ex-boo get into the car to go to the airport, it's nighttime, and then when they get to the airport, it's daytime. They could have reshot the car scene so it coincided. Lastly, Zena's t-shirts, I felt it was over the top. No need to oversell that she's a woman in tech. We see that what she's working on and know who she is, and it just felt like you don't need to overdo it. Like, okay, let's say she wore it once or twice, but she kept wearing it, and it was just like, no, it's too much. Yeah, that's it for me. Okay, but I do want to say something. I feel like more could have been brought with certain characters, or certain characters could not have existed at all. Thank you.
What characters? Which characters?
Zena's character.
Fair enough.
Brought
I feel like towards the end, when they made her the daughter, you just lost me. I felt like if you left her as the villain in a way or something, it could have been more interesting. But that daughter thing, it just didn't suit it for me in a way. It just didn't tie it well for me.
Yeah, I think I'm with you there. It would have been just interesting enough for her to just be a bad, just a villainous character who came in and bamboozled everybody, maybe with looks and naivete and being young or something like that. But yeah, I'm sure many people are going to mention that. Let me not get into that. But thanks a lot, Fider. Tammy, do you want to say some of the things you didn't quite like about The Man for the Job?
I certainly do. I've already said this before, but let me just touch up on this again. And I think Fader already said something about that. Zena's outfits in the office, they were too casual, although I've got to say I loved the slogans. Joseph's apartment, someone else said this earlier. Well, actually, that person said that they liked the lighting in the movie. For me, that wasn't always the case. Joseph's apartment, for example, it was a nice apartment, and I've got to say, I like how they used a middle class setting for this scene. Well, for all of the scenes which required that apartment. But I thought it was a tad too dark. Then again, it might have been symbolism. We get the impression that even though this man is supposed to be successful, he has this dark cloud over him, and as a result, life is difficult because he's sailing through cloudy weather. And I agree with what another person has said. That sex scene, I'm sorry, I'm probably not the person to be talking about this, given I'm still a virgin, but that sex scene, don't laugh. Anyway, it wasn't realistic enough. It looked like they were just spooning each other and making weird noises. That's it. And the news bulletin, there's a scene where Joseph and his wife were celebrating with a bottle of wine when all of a sudden a news bulletin appeared on the scene. I'm sorry, but who reads the news like that? Who? You're talking about a very serious event, and then not event, incident, fraud, and the two of them are talking about it casually. I'm talking about the newsreaders. What sort of bulletin is that? And it looked more like one of those panel shows like The View over there in America, or that one, that the Nigerian equivalent on TVC. I can't remember what it's called. And the police cell. Okay, why did I get the impression that that scene was filmed in a nightclub? I didn't see any bars anywhere. Okay, granted, they probably couldn't find an actual police cell to film that, but at least they could have used shadows to create the impression of bar somewhere. You know what I mean? Light from outside, casting no, causing the bars to cast shadows. That would have been more realistic. But that did not look like a police cell or indeed a police interview room to me. Not at all. Another thing was Lai's house. I don't know if this is a dislike. You know, from the outside it was white. Everything there was white. The inside, even Lai's clothes. He was in white all the time. But the room where he was having the meeting with Joseph's wife, that was dark as well. But then again, it could be symbolism, symbolizing his dark character. And the fight scene. Okay, I like what someone else said. I'm sorry, I can't remember that person's name, but that person said that it showed that even though Joseph's wife was married to a banker, she was still hood deep inside. But I did notice that there was a crowd out there. Surely the director could have told them to leave. And yes, I do understand that people in Nigeria like to look and maybe cheer when two people are fighting. But this didn't look like one of those times when people were watching a fight. It looked like, I don't know, there was... Is everything okay?
No, yeah, I hear you. You look like
Oh,
what
yeah,
people
sorry,
watching
I
a
thought I
film.
heard something over there. Okay. It looked like they wanted to see how a movie was made, or they simply wanted
Yeah.
their 50 minutes of fame and just stood there. And another thing was the Masquerade Ball. Okay, I did say that I liked the Masquerade Ball earlier, and I liked the costumes. But one thing I didn't like at all was the way the singer was dubbed. I mean, the song was good. The singer had a fantastic voice and everything. And yes, the song did suit the mood of the movie and indeed that scene. But I did notice one thing. She wasn't singing live. She was dubbed. And that took away from the realism of the movie. And on top of that, those dancers who were dancing in the middle of the room, I think I'm not a dancer. I was born with two left feet, so I'm probably not one to comment on this, but it looked a bit too choreographed. I don't even know how to say that word. It looked too choreographed for me because even it looked as if they'd practiced it beforehand. And these were supposed to be people who were at the ball to have a good time before dancing to the music. And then when Joseph's wife walked through the dancers, they were dancing with her. It looked as if it had been rehearsed, which again wasn't that good. And I agree once again with the flashback scenes. There was nothing to suggest that it was a flashback. Not always. I mean, they did write in a corner of the scene every now and again, 2010, 2009, but they could have done other things. Someone suggested using a different sort of filter color scheme to show it took place ages ago, or maybe a few years ago, as the case may have been. But as it happens, I am writing a screenplay, and one thing I've learned when it comes to moving from scene to scene is the different sorts of transition you can use. For example, when it comes to flashbacks, you could use a sepia filter or maybe a black and white filter, although those are a bit old-fashioned these days. But then they could have used a quick fade to white. You know, usually when there's a transition, people use black. But when it comes to flashbacks, they could have used white. I think that's what they did in the the new Rattlesnake movie, and it was really well shot, really impressive. And another thing I didn't like, and I'm sure everyone is going to agree with me on this, when Xena was escaping to another country, that aeroplane, it looked like a bloody cartoon. It looked like a cartoon, and I was expecting Tom and Jerry to, make an appearance from the cloud. That's how fake it was. Even the Truman Show, when they wanted to film that Fiji scene, although that scene was later deleted, it looked more realistic than that. So, in conclusion, I think that the movie, I can't even remember the name now. It wasn't a bad movie, but is it one I'd like to watch again? No. I'm not even into technology and all that, so what's the point? But I will say one thing. The man who played Joseph, I can't even remember his name. I've got to say that he is one of the best actors of our generation, because if you give him a role, he'll nail it. I know he was an annoying character in Glamour Girls, and he was an abusive boyfriend in some other movie, which I can't remember. But in this movie, he played the man who really wanted to make a difference for himself and for his family, but was still ashamed because he hadn't hit the big time, which was sad. But he really is a good actor, and I applaud him for that. So that's it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tammy. Thank you so much for all of that. Yes, I do think Uzo is probably, he's definitely up there with one of the greats. I generally wouldn't have thought, if you have told me Uzo was going to play a tech bro, I just, I was like, that doesn't sound like a good casting choice. But he absolutely, I would say he absolutely does deliver. So yes, but yes, sex scenes, aeroplane. I have to call that an aeroplane.
No,
that cartoon.
I will.
Yeah, go on.
I was gonna say about the ballroom dance scene. While I thought the scene was ridiculous, I don't think it was over choreographed. I think it was under choreographed. Because I'm perfectly fine with throwing in some whimsy. If that's what you want to do, that's perfectly fine. I'm not opposed to some random dance sequence somewhere, right? I didn't think it was necessary, but cool. I'm perfectly fine with assuming the dancers were not actually part of the attendees, but were entertainment, so they had a choreographed dance thing going on. It was just because it was weird valley where it looked like it was choreographed, but badly choreographed because people were missing steps, and it was like you teach a non-dancer a few steps and they try their best, but it's your first day at salsa class, right? So I thought that was under choreographed, not over.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we go on to other speakers, I'm just going to read some of the comments. You can either comment underneath the space or use the hashtag Nollywood Film Club, and we can read out your comments. I'm like, this is from Izemo of Kaduna. He says he likes Tammy. Babajide says things I didn't like about the man for the job. At some point, there were some unnecessary convolutions, too much of a twist related to point one. This movie was overdrawn. Some scenes were unnecessary, and others were too long. It needed tightening up. Thanks. You can also review. Rate and review this movie, The Man for the Job, on Nolly Data. It's part of the pinned tweet. All right, so much more to get through. All right, Atas, you missed the good. Do you?
Oh no.
You can say both you're good and bad. Oh no, that's so I've come to the negative Nancy kids. Here we go. Go on.
Well, I appreciated how much, I guess, it looks like sometimes she's giving out the world.
Wait, is it?
Atas, are you speaking?
Atas, you sound like you're very far away.
Yes, I appreciate that as a tech for myself.
Atas?
We can't hear you. You sound like you're very far away. Is it just us? Can anybody else hear her? Elizabeth, can you hear Atas?
No, I can't, and I don't think she can hear us either.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Maybe the call's coming or something. All right. Okay. Um, that's fine. Elizabeth, you can go.
Okay, so what did I not like? See, when I started watching this, right? Like I said, I really like the introduction to the
Sorry,
characters,
y'all.
and oh my God, can you hear us? Otaika is speaking.
All right.
Oh, she said again. All right, so introduction to the characters, I really liked it. So I liked, so because they were showing a lot of internal conflict, right? Especially from our main guy Joseph, who is the man for the job. It was intriguing to watch, and then the plot just dabarooed, and I will explain why. So let me start with the basics. This thing that I do not like: the writing was bad, the dialogue was bad. Oh my God, the dialogue was bad. Oh my God, the writing was bad. I mean it was abysmal. It was abysmal because even though the scenes were moving, you feel like they're woven into each other, but because when the characters are speaking, the choice of words, the choice of what they're saying, it just throws me out every single time. And I actually wrote down one part, but I'm even lost now because, and I think what is happening here is the tech jargon that was being spoken. So the last time I wrote a code was 12 years ago for my final year project, but I do read codes at work. And so many things here just did not work for me. And it was very difficult for me to ignore. I know that maybe somebody who doesn't have an idea would be easy to bamboozle, but this wasn't working for me at all. And also a lot of the decisions made while directing this movie, I will get into that. Very questionable. So writers, please hire writers, guys. Hire people who can write, tighten your story together for you. Writers read books, read a lot of prose, read a lot of stories, structuring, development, especially when it is a genre where the stakes are supposed to be high. You don't want to come out, you don't want the stakes coming out flaccid and drab, which was which was what this movie was suffering from. It also did a lot of majoring in minors because all the majoring in minors ruined this movie for me, especially the watch. Like, okay, let's pick one of the majoring majoring in minors. Look at the way Esohe's character, Esohe, help me guys. Esohe became a bad girl from, she opened, after when she opened a jewelry box, you assume that maybe she's now gonna sell her things and you're already feeling sorry, but then she removed all the jewelry. She brought out one weed. Guys, that scene killed me. That scene, I was like, get out of here. Is that how people used to introduce people with criminal backgrounds? Please help me. What was that? Because this was the exact thing that happened in Blood Sisters with Kemi's character. She was just making all these James Bond Bado decisions, and only for them to show us that, oh, she used to work with one. But this was exactly the same thing. Then they show her, she lit the weed. Beautiful scene, beautiful color, beautiful frames. And then they show us computers burning, beautiful, beautiful. But that is it. That is majoring in minor. So fantastic. Congratulations on your beautiful frame. What exactly did that thing? How did it tie together? How did it make sense to you when you were writing it? Especially that SRS, she's a bad lead, the way they even introduced it. And then the next thing we saw her, she wore clothes. She left jobs or whatever. She sells much or whatever. She has one her clothes tucked in her jeans. We saw her next thing, she's in the market fighting Agbiru. I'm like, oh my God. Of all the choices of characterization in the world, she's fighting in computer village. And I'm like, who wrote this? Who wrote this character? Did you workshop this character at all? Because when you're writing characters, you want to show them with depth. And I get the idea is that this is the sort of movie where, the plot has so many twists and you need to, throw us off loop and then introduce and just throw us back in. And then when you're doing things like this and there is no cohesion to your story, it's especially when you're raising, especially when you're raising the stake, right? Like her motivation was to help her husband out. It's just how she got to that part of who this this babe that had, who knew somebody who could hack phones. It just, and then she didn't discuss this with this husband who is supposed to be like the smartest software developer, which, we did not know exactly what they were, guy, because they had him coding inside the server room at some point. But I digress. So this is it about majoring in minors, right? Because you're trying to give us like beautiful shots, which is fantastic. I don't think it is mutually exclusive. I don't think you need to sacrifice one for the other, especially the way this story was woven together. And if I was okay, somebody has talked about the sex scene. I'll be do let's go there, because when the sex started, I screamed because it felt like they were eating hot pepper or hot yam. That was what sounded. I was like, oh my god, stop this. I wanted to pause it. I'm like, what's happening? I was scared, guys. That scene ruined me. I'm like, no, I can't take this. So anyway, so you can say that they did research about blah blah blah. That they did not do research about the tech thing. No. Guys, please don't let me go into it, because no tech person speaks the way they speak. Like, it was like they were opening textbook, the loops, if or yesterday. Oh my god, get out of it. Who speaks like that? And especially they were using Python to design a software. Okay, so please, I don't want to go into the nitty gritty, because this is usually what Cynthia does, and Cynthia is not here, so I feel like I have to really help her pick things. But really, maybe people will probably not understand. But it was a lot of decisions that they were making, right, about who Joseph is. So here is the thing: Joseph is this guy who is really brilliant, who is like the best software person in the world. Yeah, and then he now found. I mean, this guy, he said the world moved on, so he took a job in bank, which I'm not going to suspend, but let's assume that was what happened to him. Maybe he got so dejected, he just decided to stick with banking job. And then they said that this guy's there was a part where Tega was talking about how his software, he hid the software into the code. I'm like, guy, who are you? You hid what into what? And then when he hid the software into the code, they need a large server to run it, because okay, so this guy wrote a software in quotes, guys. He wrote a software that he did not run, he did not test. So where did he run? Where did he test? Oh my god. But anyways, that's just nitty gritty. Doesn't matter. But the point is that so many things here about the tech things, like Blonda, did not work for me. Like when he checked that Python script and then he found out, oh, the error here was just a symbol. And then he said, oh, I've written it. You have written it out. You can just change it. The error was a symbol. That's not true, because you're contradicting already. If the error was just a symbol, which again, vague, how is it that you have not written it outright and she can just adapt it? Okay, you know what? Yeah, I'm out of here. Let's leave that one. Anyway, apart from the fact that just did not work, it was just very correlated. The audience reviews were very, very weak. And I think somebody mentioned it already. Zina being the daughter did not phase me. When it was like Zina was the daughter, I was like, okay, I could have guessed now. I saw her went to this man's house, went to Mr. Lai's house. Inside Mr. Lai's house, so as in, do you guys get that she went inside Mr. Lai's house? Was inside Mr. Lai's study. She saw a picture of Mr. Lai and this girl in his study, and the first thing her brain did is, Eureka, this is his mistress, really. He went to his house, to his study. So of course I did not believe at this point, because I'm like, you know what? I don't care, man. And so when the review came, it was so underwhelming. And then when we even it was so underwhelming, guys. And then when we got to Tega's scene where Tega and Joe, when they were having that heart to heart. I mean, this was the scene where you were supposed to be in your feelings. This is where everything was supposed to come together. And it felt very underwhelming for me, because it was a lot of exposition. Now you're using a lot of exposition to move the plot that you have decided to use out of this movie, to confuse us, to make us think that, I mean, to assume that Tega is supposed to be this bad, like the villain. Of course, it wasn't exactly believable, but that was what you set it up to be. And then when you got into that scene, you just had Tega and Joseph just open their mouth, wow, and explained all the things you've been hiding from us from the since the beginning of this. I'm like, and we're already in the 1 hour mark. So I'm like, okay, so what's going to happen in the really 1 hour? We're like, okay, guys, help me out here. I think it was for 7 minutes. I remember looking at the time because I'm like, okay, so now that you've used your mouth to you say, oh, this is what has been happening, I'm like, okay, God, help me. But let me get to the next one. Mr. Lie's motivation to steal less than $500,000 from his own users just before a $10 million investment because, checks notes, he will lose control. So he settled for a paltry, measly sum of $500,000. This man went through this elaborate scheme using his daughter to get to Joseph's, putting every head together. He was this conniving, scheming person to steal a measly mere look. His mates in fintech, every time they are collecting investors' money, seriously, they are spending it, losing money, cashing out, whatever. This guy stole less than $500,000. Do you know how underwhelming that review was at the end? When Tega said yes, because he will lose control, I'm like, who are these niggas? Who are these people? And then Mr. Lai was just there lying down on the bed, just doing like a petulant child. I'm like, who is this guy? Did he never grow up? Like, really, guys? Do you know how underwhelming that review was? We had several audience review here. First review at when we found out that Tega wasn't the bad guy. Next review when we found out that Mr. Lai was working with Zina. Next review was when we found out that Zina was not the mistress, was the there was already we have another review where Esohe was this Bado that had contact at Computer Village. So we had like 5 audience reviews, guys, and every single one fell flat, drab, made no sense. And like very skimple. The stake in this movie was flat. There was no satisfaction. I did not enjoy it. I enjoyed the first half because it had a heart. But she see the other half, it was just not on your own. And then I think I mentioned that ballroom scene. I think everybody has said maybe it's the choreograph, maybe it's not well choreographed. Or more, guys, it was the camera angle choice. How can you be shooting something that was choreographed from? It's like where you see if you carry your camera, you are trying to film people dancing, and you did that from a distance. Now, when in that scene where everybody bends down and Esau had to bend down, that could have been perfect if the angle was like north. Where's my east? Okay, northeast from the top. You would see that better. Or if you seem like it, because the song was saying boju boju, and there is this boju boju dance we did when we were small, private. If you attended Yoruba primary school, boju boju, lorumbo, and then always in Ghana and everybody bends and you're trying to enter into the garden, whatever. See, that part, when she bends in, if you're going to get that shot, that you can't be filming it from a distance, and people were dancing in front of them. So there was a lot of distraction. So we didn't even really see. So if it was well choreographed, which I think happened. So what I think happened there was badly edited, maybe badly edited. Choreographed, we'll never know because it just seemed like people were dancing across my scene, my screen. They were just dancing. And then everything that led up to her. So there was no fluidity, there was no smoothness after she pushed. That was a nice shot, right? She hung in there and then everything falls into the water, and it was almost as if he took a pause and said, leave me alone. I'm like, look, was there a pause there? Because it just seemed like there was a pause. Leave me alone. I'm like, oh
my God, no.
What are the chances? Well, anyways, guys, let me just, if not, I'll just be picky, because it was a lot, guys. The battery was 65%, and blah, 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 blah. Come on, man. Make better decisions, guys.
All right, thanks, Elizabeth. I think that leave me alone line. Oh man, it's not back in the days where Donatus used to review. No, I'm sure he'd have made that a meme that would have lasted the years. Anyway, but thanks a lot, Elizabeth. All right, can we go Otas now? Otas, we couldn't hear you before. I don't know whether we can hear you now.
Can y'all hear me?
Ooh, say that again.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
my Bluetooth was deciding whatever to connect whatever it felt like. But yeah, good. I didn't have a lot of good. I did think that, I mean, I'm not an engineer, but I thought that they did a good job with building out like a believable company and app and stuff like that. So that was fun. And then I liked the lead actor, at least in the first half. I thought he sold the story. I did like the first half. The first half did have a lot of heart, but at some point around like 1 hour and 10 minutes, I think, is where I kind of got lost. And I was saying I'm actually still watching this movie because I just haven't been able to finish. And I realized like around the hour and a half mark, like 1 hour 36, I realized I don't know what's happening. And so I rewind back a few minutes to try to get caught up. And then I get lost again. Anyways, I find it really convoluted. It just seems like two different movies with two different sets of characters, with two different sets of motivations and convictions. It feels like the first half of the movie, it's its own movie. And then the second half of the movie, it's also its own movie. The last person did point out that it was insane to be stealing 500K. I thought that was insane to be stealing 500K when you're about to get 10M. And there were too many twists, too many turns that didn't really go anywhere. I'm reading off a list. The sex scene was hideous. Let's never do that again. Right from the beginning, they lost me though, because when she was talking in the Uber on the phone, describing her work problem, and then he immediately goes, "Oh, you're working on a growth regression." I was like, how the fuck did you know that? She didn't even mention that. And I like right from there was where it started to get a little weird because I still don't know how he knew what she was working on and how he solved that problem. And yeah, the 1 minute weed cameo, like someone mentioned, was beautiful gowns, beautiful shots. It was dramatic as hell for no reason. When she did the slow exhale and breathed it up into the sky, I think I almost died. So it's just very convoluted. The other guy who does the second lead, what's his name?
It's like
Ibrahim. Yeah.
Ibrahim.
So he.
Ibrahim.
I don't know. I guess he did. He was good to watch. His character was confusing. First he was bad, then he was good, then he was, but I thought he did a good job of being the annoying manager. Also, oh my God, the kid in the beginning who plays their daughter, Evie, is probably the most annoying child actor I've ever watched in my entire life. That was single-handedly the most annoying 2 minutes where she's just like, "Mom, mommy, this guy is doing this." Like, it was so aggravating. But yeah, that was it.
All right. Thanks for that. Ending up on some child hate.
No, I hate her. I mean, not her, but yeah.
Wow. Just doubling down. All right. No, I guess like whilst Atat's going to go back to some, said some of the things she liked, I think I should say something I like that I forgot to mention, and it's the rain. Nee recently, I think he posted something about like he likes putting rain in his films, and I think sometimes it's not necessary, and sometimes it makes things harder, and it doesn't harder for other parts of production without really adding much. But in this, I actually think it works very well. There's a kind of mood it helps add to Uzo's characters, like almost like dour feeling, and it's something that I think it passes on very well, and it's kind of consistent. It seems like a rainy season day, and it's kind of always raining. I just really like that part. It's actually you can say some things about some of the CGI versions of the rain, but I think it's a really good use of rain. But yes, we are in the bad. So, but given I just said a good, want to bring out one of Nollywood's
Nollywood Film Club's stars.
fanboy, fanboy cheerleaders. Ava,
Oh.
Ava, talk to us. Tell us.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, we're the bad boy. You can. I just said a good because I forgot to say that one. Either you can do both your good and your bad, but go on. You know how this works.
Okay, well, I do want to do the good. I will do some of the bad too, the spirit of fairness. I enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed everybody's performance. Even Tiani's performance that people say they didn't really enjoy. I actually liked it. I mean, I thought she was supposed to. She played the part well. I do like the cinematography. I like the colors that were used, especially in the prison cell. Not really accurate to real life, but I still liked it. Sometimes you have to go with what looks best rather than what's realistic. So I like that a lot. The ballroom scene was good too. I really liked the song there. It was really nice. The Boju Boju song on its own was good too. So there's a lot of stuff to like in this film. I like that the writing was ambitious and it tackled the subject matter that's not usually tackled in Nollywood. So, props to, Nee for doing things differently. So, I mean, from the trailers and stuff, I had a bunch of theories about the film. I was wrong about everyone. So it definitely took me to a place I didn't expect it to take me to. So it was a really enjoyable experience watching the movie in its entirety. So I'm not here to say what anybody said and try to defend it and I'm just going to say what I like and what I don't like. And what I wouldn't say I didn't like it. I would just say I was curious about it. There were 3 things that I was curious about, and someone has actually answered it. At the time I was watching the movie, I was doing some stuff, so I thought I missed it. I was wondering why, Ali Baba's character would basically, sabotage his own company when he was getting like $10 million. But, they said it was because he thought he would lose control. I missed that part in the movie. So when the movie ended, I was actually wondering why would he do that? I don't really think losing control is a central part of it because most tech people, they don't have control of their company the moment a lot of cash comes in. So just finding that out now, I don't really like that. I wish there was a different reason. Maybe he cooked the books and he didn't want them to catch him or something, and he wanted to bail and run or something like that. I think that would have been better. Then the second thing is when they found the picture of him and his daughter. When I watched it, my thinking was, nobody really has physical pictures anymore. I mean, it's 2022, and they were in a hotel room. Did a photographer come and take the picture in there? It was just, I don't know. I just wish maybe it was a framed picture on the table. I felt that would have made more sense because his daughter, he has a framed picture on the table. That's better. It shouldn't have been just one picture. I mean, who really prints out pictures anymore? So that was my second issue. And my third issue was, I guess it was down to the director's choice. There was a lot of solemn piano playing in some places that I wish it's not bad. Okay. I just wish it was different. And I think some people said, oh, the film was dragging. And the thing is, especially when you work in movies, when films drag, sometimes you need the music to make people wake up. And I feel like if they had just swapped out some of those slow solemn pianos with a little more suspense or something a little more suspenseful, it would have kept people drawn into the story, and then they wouldn't have felt like it was dragging. So the story itself, I didn't feel was dragging. I felt it was probably the music choice in some places that just made it feel like it was dragging. So that's it. That's all for me.
Oh, thanks, Ava. You said there's just one question I wanted to ask you about. You said something like subject matter or something, right?
Tackle the subject matter that's not typically.
Yeah. What is that? I missed that.
Just the something in the tech industry,
Okay.
tech boys and hacking and all that stuff is not usually done in Hollywood. Yeah.
All right. Thanks. Thanks, Ava. Appreciate it. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of the pianos either. It's one of the things I wrote down. I hated them. I think because there are 2 reasons. Number one, I thought the scene would have been probably better off without them. But 2, if you're actually going to score it, it feels like the that those really sappy pianos felt like almost parody levels. Like so, like there are just some things we don't do anymore because they are so cliche, right? That they are now used in comedies as that version of what you do. So that those piano keys, the sappy piano felt like a parody version. It's like the kind of things I would see in YouTube if I'm pretending to be sad, like for comedic effect. I would add those kind of like like so. Yes, I did not like that. All right, okay. Is Cynthia on? Cynthia, you missed the good side. So if you want to give us both good and bad, or and just bad anyhow you want to do it, go ahead.
No, of course, I'm going to say my food. Okay, so like I'm so sure everyone has studied. I I like the first 1 hour of this movie. Like when I ignored a lot of the techie dialogues and some of the blunders, I was like, okay, I'm actually enjoying this movie. So the first half almost got me, but the second half revealed the plans they had for me. Then in acting, I actually liked Iniedo, and this was something this movie did. It's been a while she gave a good performance, so having to make her actually act was something that I was wowed about, and I appreciate them for doing that. Then we had Uzo Arukwe, and like I mean, we do. I'm so sure everybody enjoyed him without him having his Igbo caricature accent. So I liked Uzo Arikwe. I also like Ali Baba, like Balola guy. So the times I needed him to be a clown, when I wanted to laugh, he actually gave me. Then I also like the house help energy, the one that was taking care of their children. Then Ibrahim Suleiman's character. So I actually had to do to burn to know where I want to put him. If I have to put him in the likes or dislike, and he came in the like. So when the movie started in the first 1 hour, I felt his acting was quite convincing and it was going everywhere. It was going somewhere, okay? But when the movie fell down in the last 1 hour, it's more like his acting followed his acting followed the falling down. So there was no much consistency with his acting. Yes, I understand they had bad script, but it was really shaky from sometimes good, sometimes convincing, sometimes unconvincing. Then I like the setup of the Seed Insurance Bank. I actually like the logo. I like the bank hall setting. I like the animations they used on the screen in the bank. I was like, they put a lot of content into graphic content. They put a lot of work into the graphic content. Even in my bank app page, I was like, this is very fine. The city riders, like they did a lot of work for their graphic content. The movie had a lot of beautiful camera shots that I like. Then not things that I will gush about, but like Mr. Steve said, in comparison to Prophetess, I actually prefer the rain CGI. Yeah, okay. So in Prophetess, they kept pouring rain and pouring rain. I was like, why are you pouring rain? But this, I was like, okay, it's fine. Same in comparison to Prophetess, I felt like they did better with the sickness. So in Prophetess, this woman had epilepsy, and oh my god, how they showed the epilepsy scenes and everything was bad. Okay, it shows that we still do not understand epilepsy. But with the sequel cell, I felt like they did better in presentation, and it's not something to gush about. It's just because the other movie had some bad things, and I just have to give them accolades for improving. Then the song in the ballroom, is it Turn Off the Lights? Yeah, I like the song. Then there was a T-shirt. Finally, there was a T-shirt that Temi's character wore, where they wrote a Coda girl, a girl with magical power who can hack your day, synonym sorcerer witch. For some reason, if I see that T-shirt, I'm going to buy it. Okay, so I like that T-shirt. So now to my dislike. like I said, the first part of the movie, I enjoyed it too. After I ignored a lot of techie dialogue, but when the techie dialogue kept popping up, I started feeling like it's like they got all their ideas from Twitter. And I will explain. It's as if they got all their ideas from Twitter. Every tech trending words that have been used on Twitter, they were just like carrying it and was putting and was putting and was putting. But anyway, I shall ignored it to just enjoy that first half. Then the second part felt like, ah, we're done with collecting from Twitter. Let's go and collect from Hollywood, okay? And we also have our setup Hollywood kind of movies. So let's miss Twitter and Hollywood. So with minor dislike, personally, I didn't like the Nadines Indian accent. I felt it was very caricature. So like even when I interact with Indians in my secondary school and also in and also yeah, currently, yeah, I'm at work. When I interact with Indians, that the way she sounded is not how they talk like how do I put it? It's a personal like Sha. They don't sound like that. Okay? They sound like that, but they not sound like how she did it. Okay, so it was very caricature. Then the female actor, sorry, the female child actor, as Ustaz said, I was like, these lines are too much for this girl.
Thank you, a fellow child.
I was like, these lines are too much for this guy. I also felt like the guy would have been better, but I mean, it was the one that had sickle cell. But the female actor, the female child actor, I don't know. Now, written from Twitter, I want to prove to people that they copied things from Twitter. So I felt they copied things as they saw or as they are seeing or as we all see on Twitter Nigeria without understanding how it's being used. Okay. So first of all, we see my bank app and I'm seeing buy, save, and trade. And I'm like, okay, buy, save, and trade. Okay, so this is going to be like a more investments kind of app. And throughout the whole story or throughout the whole movie, that app was basically an e-banking app. What are they buying, saving, and trading? I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Then we see introduction of Zina. She has a master's in product design and backend computing. And I carried machine learning. I said even certificate in machine learning. I was like, yeah, I will slap you. Now, I'm not saying they don't relate, but like product design, okay, should be on its own. Backend, if you're going to be a software developer, backend computing, front-end computing should be on its own. So I just felt they were just picking trending words from Twitter and was putting. Then we had machine learning. Wow. Then when the AppZone woman came and she said AppZone is a payment platform powered by blockchain technology. I was impressed. I actually thought that um the my bank app was going to use blockchain technology. Okay, so I don't even know why I kept on hearing Python modules, but like blockchain, I was like, okay, that's also another trending word I'm seeing on Twitter. Okay, let's go. Then the way they speak, all their techie dialogues I ignored. Let me be honest, or let's be honest with ourselves. We have friends that are in tech. They don't talk like that. They talk like normal people. They talk like normal people. And the time we're supposed to talk tech, when the guy was in when the guy was driving Zenab, and Zenab was like, anytime it gets to a certain input, the so and so stop working. And the guy was like, I was like, oh my god, so maybe they're going to talk about tech. That is an integration problem. My guy will be talking, have you checked your for loop? Have you checked your while loop? My guy now said try exponential function. I was like, really? Really? And before that scene, Steph, she was showing me scatter plots, a relationship graph, and she was trying to build what did I say? Is it growth model, whatever. So I really don't know. I just felt like the time they were supposed to even give me the tech talk, they didn't give me the tech talk, and they were just using trending words that they saw on Twitter. Then we also have Temi with the text shirts. It was not a big deal, okay, but her character was very slow. Her character was very dumb. Her character was not a nerd. She was not someone that you will see and be like, this is a tech lover. Her character was not represented as someone that would be buying a lot of tech shirts to wear. Mm-mm. No, no. There are some people that when you see, you know that this is the person that would buy a product that they are working on. Like if anybody see me with a zebra fish shirt here in the lab, they will know, Cynthia loves zebra fish, so she will buy. Do you get? So it was something like, oh, tech people wear tech shirts. Yes, tech people wear tech shirts, but there are kind of people that wear these tech shirts. Okay, it's not just tech people wear tech shirts. And I saw up to 5 or 4. No, I saw up to 3 or 4, and I was tired. I was tired. And over the time after introducing us product design, machine learning, then we came to give me markup language in our tech shirts. Then finally, to solidify the Twitter plan, the tweet picking words from Twitter, then I had a Canada PR plan in this movie. And I was disappointed that they did not carry on with the Canada PR plan. Oh, but then again, like these are things that happen or we see on Twitter, Nigeria trending from the tech to the Canada PR to everything. I'm not saying you cannot pick things from Twitter to use in your movie. I'm just saying that understand why these things are being used. Okay. And when you are trying to incorporate it, make sure you're incorporating it properly. Okay. So now I will go to Hollywood. After 1 hour, or few minutes after 1 hour, I everything just went downhill for me. When I got to the scene and I heard "fuck you, bastard, fuck you, bastard." So this like Uzo and Ibrahim interaction. I was like, these people took a break to come and give me Hollywood. These people took a break to come and give me Hollywood. So let's start with the wheat thing with Iniedo. I was like, this is like Taraji Henson in Acrimony smoking weed. Now, unfortunately, like, did she do it well? Yes, she did to some extent. Like, Iniedo did the weed thing well. But unfortunately, was it significant? Did we need it? No, we did not need it. Okay. EFCC just arrested her husband. Our child has sickle cell. This woman is supposed to be mourning. Why is she going to smoke weed? Why is she giving me Taraji Henson? Okay. Maybe they were trying to introduce her as a tough woman, but I don't know. I just felt it was an Hollywood pick and drop. Then we had burning of desktop. All this why we have been dealing with a software problem. From the coding to the working on server, because it's not like the server had issue. You can log in through Linux and get into a server. So you can use Linux to get into a server. Everything we have been doing everything is a software problem. Why did she burn hardware? Maka, why? Okay, it's even a personal workstation. What was the use of burning hardware? This is a software problem. Of what significance is burning the desktop to the story? So I felt, okay, Hollywood, let's pick and drop. The ballroom, the dancing and everything. If we are being honest, Zainab did not need to attend that event because it did not add anything to the story. She has already dropped the money in the hotel room. And baby girl, go home. She did not meet the father. She did not meet anybody in the event. She didn't. Okay, she met Ine. Well, I'm coming. Like she did not meet anything to the stealing to the everything. She was there to drop money at Echo Hotel. So I felt the ballroom was probably something that they have always wanted to do, and they had to like do a coincidence of Ine Edo coming in to find her in the ballroom because she's attending the ballroom, of which it didn't make sense why she was attending the event. Sorry, the ballroom dancing event. It didn't make sense why she was attending that event. But sure, coincidence have to happen for the script to move, okay? And then she ran and she jammed cake. She didn't even hit the cake. The woman fell the cake herself. Sure, coincidence just have to happen, and it has to look like a planned Hollywood, or it has to look like an Hollywood scene that we have seen before. Okay, then the throwing of the water, I don't know. I just felt like they picked a lot of Hollywood and just put in this movie. Then I have a lot of questions to ask. I enjoyed this movie, right? The first part, so please, it's not like I'm slandering the movie. I have a lot of questions to ask. First of all, who sent Iniedo the picture of Uzo and Zainab? Tell me. Um, okay, yes, it's Ibrahim Solomon. But I mean, why is he sending her the picture? Because later in the story, they revealed to us that they were doing something in secret. Okay. She told Ini that they revealed to us that it was not such a bad guy. Okay. So she told Ini that he was trying to test something and is going to later go and tell Mr. Lai so that they can buy the software. So he's no longer a bad guy, he's a good guy. So why is he sending a picture that pissed Ini and think that her husband is cheating or something to his wife? Sorry, that pissed Ini, to Ini. So why is he doing that? So I don't know. I have questions, so they need to answer me. Then Mr. Lai had access to the base modules from beginning. Why did he not employ his daughter? Just give her access at home. We won't need we won't need a lot of the story. Okay, yes, maybe he wanted to pin it on Uzo, but he ended up pinning it on his daughter. He didn't even pick But I mean, if he had given her at home, we would have seen a Russian attack, Indian attack, something Shasha attack. But he already had access to the module, so we watched like 30 minutes or 1 hour of things that did not later connect to it because this guy have access to the modules and he would have just given it to his daughter. Okay, he need Uzo to do the code. We shall get there. We'll get there. But I just felt give it to the daughter and let's solve and let's do what we want to do. Okay. And we see, and later at the end, they're trying to do is a loving father. And he wants to protect his daughter. But when Ini got to his office, he's telling Ini that his daughter designed the City Rider app. Uh-uh. So it was like everything just needs to connect. Everything should connect. Then Ini stood up from the office and went to his study and he's searching his study. I mean, everything just have to connect. Everything just have to connect. Then Uzo's character, why I like his acting performance, is if they showed us that this guy is a smart guy. Okay, so he designed a code maybe 10 years ago that was used to make the bank app. So in fact, this movie conflicted themselves because at some point it said the code made the bank app. At some point it was like the code made a product. Anyone sure, this man is a very smart man. But this guy is still hustling and doing a bank job. So like how what they want us to believe about this character is not what we are saying, okay? And then they were like, the world has moved on. But he did the big deal. He did the base modules. He did the big deal. Why is he hustling in Steed Assurance Bank? He would have gotten a job anyway. He was even doing Canada PR. That was even a perfect time for him to get PMP through maybe British Columbia looking for tech people because it's smart. So they introduced this character as smart, give us an hustling bank job. Okay, fine. I bought it in the first half, but when everything started falling down, I'm like, nah, I'm going to pick on you people. Okay. Then Uzo designed a code. I can't pick if it was the bank app or the product because they kept conflicting themselves. During the after the EFCC palaver or after Lai Babalola character told Ibrahim, what was his name? Tega. Oh, he has a real name, yeah. Told Ibrahim or Tega, Joseph, Lai Babalola, after they did their discussion and Uzo was like, Joseph was like, you stole my code. He had this guilty face, like he stole his code, right? Then later when they were together, I was like, no, I didn't steal your code though. They would have bought it from you. I was just testing I was just testing a product and I was like, okay, he didn't steal his code though, but he had that guilty face. Okay. I was like testing a product that for 1 billion transaction. At this point I was like, okay. Maybe Uzo did not make the My Bank app code. Okay, because Ibrahim was testing a product to run on somewhere that does not have to do with Uzo. As I said, they need to answer who did in My Bank app. What did Uzo really do? I don't know, Sha. But when the thing was pointing to Zainab, that Zena probably did the evil. I would have even taken it. I would have taken it that Zena did this evil. She reversed the code. But they had to end it with Mr. Lie. Reverse the code. Uh-uh. And as I said, I don't know if the I don't know if they understand that some of the viewers will be able to understand how hard it is to reverse a code. Okay, are you trying to tell me that Mr. Light that know nothing about code can see different for loop if else statement? Why I range this, and it will sit down and it'll be like I am going to reverse. I mean, it wasn't just working. It wasn't just working. It didn't work. It didn't work. If you haven't gone with Zenab reverse the code, I would have bought it. I would have just be like, okay, let's just go. Let's just go. Okay. Now revealing back to Mr. Lai and making it look like to reverse a code is just click reverser. No, no. It didn't work for me. Okay. Then I also find it very hard that Uzo cannot identify his code from a finished product. Abba. Even though it's not my bank app, it did though, even though it's a product, if you see your finished product, you are going to know. You are going to know. Okay. Or maybe he wasn't paying attention because he was hustling with Seed Assurance Bank. But I just was like, I beg, it doesn't gel. It doesn't gel. Then we also see this computer village thing, the market thing. Oh, that's their wahala. But she met this guy in the computer village that gave her something to clothing. She went to the party. She did this. The fund, this thing did not reach 100% too. The clothing did not reach 100% before they threw her inside the water. But she now went back to the computer village guy and they finished cloning phone. Abba. And they were able to retrieve not just old data, but data that was coming in currently. I do not understand how that is possible. I do not understand how that is possible. Did someone want to say something?
When you talk, we listen, Cynthia. I think that's how this works. But
Okay. Okay. I don't understand how that is possible. I don't understand how that is possible. So I don't know how cloning works, but as far as I think did not reach 100%, and it's I think 65% to be able to retrieve all the old data and the current data that is going on. That's a miracle. That's a miracle. Then I'm so sure everybody has touched on it. Stealing 300 million and investors are giving them $10 million. See, if I hear that if I'm an investor and I hear that you lose 300 million naira, I will not just invest again. I will not just invest again. I will not just invest again. So I didn't understand why they chose that route. Like I didn't understand why they chose that way. Okay. So they came with Zainab has access to the back end. We are using our Twitter techie trending word. Well, when they are telling me this, they've already tried to at the end they are confusing me with Zainab is a naive person. She's not even the one that reversed the code. Why are you telling me she have access to the back end? Well, she adjusted POS withdrawal limits. Okay. But at the end, we know Mr. Lai reversed the code. Okay, so Mr. Lai also reversed everything, make sure that the POS withdrawal limit was increased. But the way banking operates, I know that banks can give limits on withdrawal, but the central bank also have their own standard that they give limits on withdrawal that every bank has to follow. Okay, whether you are a microfinance bank or you are a commercial bank or you are a bank or whatever you are. But my babe or Mr. Lai, depending on who did it, was able to reverse the withdrawal limit. And a naive babe that probably did not know anything about the scheme because that was how they ended it for us, withdrew 50 million naira. Because Ibrahim's character not Ibrahim's character, what was his character name? Tegalicious Tega. A sweet Igbo name. Tegalicious Tega told us that this naive babe withdrew 50 million, and this 50 million this naive babe withdrew was just a distraction. Distraction for what? Was the 50 million not part of the 300 million that they were stealing? Ah, then well, the Sha was supposed to steal 300 million. No. And maybe distraction for Mr. Lai is the one that reversed the code. I don't know, man. They were supposed to steal 300 million. But we got to the final hotel thing. And Mr. Lai is like, there's 200 million naira a year. And we have 200 million incoming. And I was like, we have got it to 400 million. I thought we all I thought we all started with 300 million thefts, but maybe someone generous decided to steal an extra 100 million, and that's why we are now at 400 million. But anyways, during this movie, they showed a scene, and I swear to God, I would have probably been more relaxed if that was the motivation for the stealing. I would have been like, okay. They showed us a scene. Oh. Then I came back to Nigeria. Even her own story of how she came back to Nigeria, city rider. I was like, I'm not going to stress on it. She now said she needs to get citizenship by investment. So they are going to get Dominican Republic passport. And by investment, they need 150,000 to 250K. I tried thought they were showing us this thing because it was going to be the motivation for the theft. That was what I thought it was going to be. I was like, so now we're going to see why Mr. Lai wants to steal money from his company. But I think someone is saying motivation is because when investors come, it will not have full control. Anyway, they were supposed to look for 150K, right? And how that scene ended was now when he now said, come and work with me so you can get Joseph. So honestly, I thought that was going to be the motivation. Well, my babe got Dominican Republic citizenship. She got it too. But they were supposed to look for 150K. And in the hotel scene, they're having 400 million naira. How did they generate money to buy citizenship by investment? How? How did you put a good motivation, you leave it, you jump into another motivation, then we see something that was supposed to be a good thing for the motivation? I do not understand how it happened. Anyway, when this Zana babe came to Nigeria, Mr. Lai, a father, a loving father, that also made sure that he exposed that, made sure that everything would be on her name. Mr. Lai, a loving father, told her that, when this EFCC people wants to be serious about work, they can come and find you. This is the same man that called EFCC for Joseph character. Abba! What? You were scared that EFCC will find your daughter, or you had access to EFCC for a worker character that you wanted to pin. I was just like, I beg. People should stop this thing. Stop playing with me. Anyways, we had the airport scene. So after all the old James Bond and they cloned what should have not been cloned, they did everything that they were supposed to not do, or everything that they were going to do, or they did and everything. And after they stressed Iniedo to act, and she became James Bond. When Temi was passing her, this babe stopped and was looking at her. She now also passed Uzo Arikwe. Uzo Arikwe also stopped and was looking at her. Why are you not stressing me? Why are you not even stressing Ini? Why did you bring Ini from retirement or from the dead and resurrected her and made her act? And you did not use it. I was angry. Okay, so I felt like they just wanted to show us that they could do slow-mo. So they stressed Iniedo. No, they made Iniedo do James Bond, and she now stopped, and she was now looking at her, and they're not doing, Jojo. No. Mm-mm. I'm not going to let them be. I'm not going to let them be for stressing my babe and resurrecting her from the dead to act and not using her well. Then finally, so even though I like the graphic, like I really like the State Assurance logo. I like the animation in the bank. I liked what did I like? I like my bank app. In fact, even if I learned UI/UX today, it will still take me time to create something as beautiful as that. After liking all these things, these people said, I got you in the first half. I'm going to show you what I planned for you. That's aeroplane. That's aeroplane. I don't even know if it's aeroplane, helicopter. I don't know what to call it. That thing they did. No, 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 no. It's not supposed to happen. It's not supposed to happen. But anyways, yeah, that's what I have.
Wow. Well, everyone can go home. Thanks, Cynthia. No, yes, there's a reason why I don't really rush Cynthia. But yes, nothing more to add with that. Mel, please, whatever is left after your notes.
I agree. Cynthia did say everything. What do I want to start with? I think Zina's shirt. Um, also because I made a promise to Zainab in the comment section. But yeah, so Zina's shirt was pretty irritating, aggravating, infuriating. I'm not even sure what the exact word is, but there was something there that it was scratching my body. A bit too on the nose, I thought. But I would explain why. So my agenda for this is I just generally think that Nollywood men cannot. I'm trying to think of somebody who apologies if you're a man who wrote a really good woman recently. But right now, as I'm thinking about it, Nollywood men cannot write women. Um, I think just films in general. Um, okay, Hollywood in general cannot write women. And I think that because we often think of Hollywood as the pinnacle here in Nollywood, right? I think that we've just taken that and just run with that. Because the whole point, like Cynthia has mentioned, is that Zina is really in love with the work that she does. She's also really good at it. They never spare us. Just they badger it over our head. Oh, she's awesome. She's amazing. She's wonderful. But we never see it. We never see her be awesome or amazing or wonderful at work. Um, Zainab said when she asked me, taxi driver, these are the questions, honestly. The one of the most random people you can think of, like prior to like knowing what the revelation is, a taxi driver is like a super random person to get to help you at work. Whatever job you do, honestly. So she's really good, and we're supposed to be amazed at how really good she is. She's this whiz kid because she's so young too. And she was at a panel and she wowed everybody. And he's like, "Oh, I have to get her." But we never actually see her good. And I think that this is a writing problem. Showing, not telling, telling, not showing, all of that drawing. Because we spend so much time being told, but we never get to see. We never get to be shown. I, I Iniedu's character is so much more solid, but even that, like if you start to like nitpick and you start to like pull at the thread, like she's also like a pretty badly written character. It feels like we only know how to write women when they're supporting men, but when they have to stand by themselves, it just starts to fall apart. So that's my first dislike. My second dislike would be I think that Ibrahim gives a solid performance often enough. I don't think I've ever seen him do something that felt flat. Um, my dislike would be the characters that I have seen him, the roles that I have seen him in recently have been incredibly underwhelming. And it makes it so hard to distinguish between the acting and the character, because the character would often be badly written, badly presented. I'm thinking of him in The Ras Guy. He felt like two different people. And it's sad, because I think that what that does to his acting is it just lets him course through, as Oinkan would say. He's just coursing through. There's very little effort that's coming from him. It seems like there's very little effort that's coming from him, and it's just, this feels like somebody who should be giving the roles that challenge, the roles that push at his seams, that press on his range, and it's if I see him if I see him in another underwhelming role again, I am going to have words. I'm going to fight. It makes it so. Since they said it was so difficult to choose between like it being a dislike and it being a like. It's the character. It's so hard to like. It never feels like you're looking past the character at an actor or at the craft or at the talent. You're just always seeing this boring, underwhelming, has limited lines character, and I really dislike that. Okay, so I think I'm done with some of the more basic things that I didn't like. I thought that the writing was shit. I definitely agree with Elizabeth on this one. I thought it was bad. I thought it was so bad that I noted it in the first, I think maybe 5 minutes. I just paused it and went, this writing is shit. The dialogues, there's parts of it, they go off into like these tangents that make it clear that the writer is having a blast. The writer is speaking their mind. I'm not having a blast. I don't know how else to explain it. The way that they speak, when they speak, there's like a lack of rhythm. I don't know. I thought it was really bad. And it did not help that the story felt all over the place in many, many places as well. I thought that the writing just helped, just like scatter the plot even more. I thought that the directing left a lot to be desired as well. I didn't think the direction was as bad as the writing, but I thought it left a lot to be desired. The first time that I'm just like, something is wrong is when we're in the cab. It's not the first cab scene. I think maybe this is second, but my memory might be failing me. But it's not the first cab scene. I'm certain of that. But we're in the cab, and maybe I shouldn't be certain. I'm starting to doubt myself. Okay, point is, we're in the cab, and Zina says, "Oh, something, 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 lie, Babalola," and it's supposed to be this shocking revelation, right? But it loses its punch, because rather than see how what's Uzo at this point he's Barnabas. Rather than see how Barnabas reacts to that information, the camera spends the entire time on Zina. And it's so pointless. Why? Because she's just said this thing that should elicit a reaction from this man. And it does, because later on we see him like, oh, flashbacking and like him being like a little moody. But the moment she says that, the camera should have gone straight to him, so we see that realization dawn on him. No, it doesn't. It stays on Zina. And she's not doing anything. She's not saying anything. She's not making any faces. She's not reacting. She's not emoting, nothing. Because she doesn't have to, because she's done what she needs to do. She said the thing that should be some sort of bombshell. He should be the one reacting, but we don't see that. And it just felt like a curious choice to me. Why the camera chose to stay on on Zina. And I thought that like I feel like that carried through for the rest of the movie. It always felt like, not always, but there were many places where it felt like I didn't know who to focus on. And I didn't know because the camera didn't know itself. The ballroom scene, Elizabeth has already talked about camera angles. I feel like what made it feel what cheapened it even more is we never knew who to focus on. So there's a little bit of a chase thing. Zina walks across the dance floor. Curious choice. Why is the exit all the way across the dance floor? I don't know. It's fine. But Zina walks across the dance floor. the camera follows her for a bit, and it follows her really nicely for a bit. Because once she gets past the band, it goes to the band. Why are we looking at the band? And she's looking back. So we should see can't remember Niedo's character's name, but we should see Niedo's character coming, right? But we never do. We don't see Niedo's character come. The time that we finally see Niedo's character coming, she's already there in the midst of the dancers. She's like dodging dancers before they surround her and do that thing. I don't know what it was. But the camera never like it's the way that it works, it was very confusing for me. Zina gets to the end, right? Where I'm guessing the exit is supposed to be, and she stops for a minute. But we don't follow her and follow her to stop. Like we follow her through the dance floor, we go to the band, we stay on the band for a really long time, and then we go to her, and it just feels very awkward the way that the camera is moving and the way that it's choosing its subject. I think that's what the point is. That it feels very awkward the way that it's choosing its subjects. I thought that was a directorial fail, a failure of directing. I don't know, but I didn't like that. It was pretty confusing for me. What's my other dislike? My other dislike would be that the market scene. I really dislike that scene, the computer village scene. The drone shots, because even the drone shot again, the camera is not sure who to focus on. Like your where is well doing Niedo's character? Just where is she here? You can't. You just the drone shot of people walking. Anyway, I thought that scene by itself, first of all, the fight was very confusing. It took about, I counted it, it took a minute, almost exactly a minute. And it felt like forever. Just her just like hitting him with her purse. It felt like forever. But the reason why I bring this up is because I thought that it was an idea, and it never moved past an idea. It was an idea, and it was presented as an idea. It never took. I don't think anyone ever took the time to flesh it out as, okay, this is the thing that's going into the movie. Let's tighten it up. It looks like an idea. It felt like an idea. It acted like an idea. It looked like an idea. I disliked that. I don't agree with Elizabeth on the music. I thought that the pieces by themselves were not things I would disagree with. They were not disagreeable to me. No, I liked some of them. I thought that the music design, in particular, was very intrusive on the watching experience. And I feel like that's not the first place that I noticed it, but that's the place that comes to mind now. The sex scene. The music was so loud, so loud. It was very distracting. So I really disliked the music design. I thought the pieces were very intrusive. There's one where we're moving from, like, I think Inedu is in this scene. We're moving from Inedu's character in this scene, and there's like this upbeat music, and it just feels so out of place. I don't know. I can't like remember, but I just remember thinking that it just felt like it just kept on knocking on my conscience. Just like, I'm here, and I would have preferred for it not to. I think I've run out. Yes, I think I've said the bulk of the things that I disliked. This Nusa's family. This is just a nitpicky one, but it's fine. Nusa's family picture, right? I'm uber convinced that he was photoshopped into that. Uber convinced. It just feels like a suspended head. Uber convinced he was photoshopped into that. Uber convinced the photoshopping was shoddily done. Yeah, that's about it for me.
No, thanks, Mel. Just as eloquent a speaker, to be honest, probably our most eloquent speaker, if I'm going to be honest. All right, we've got Inka, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. See, most people have said one of the things I want to say. Yeah, the sex scene was awkward. Was very weird. It was very weird. What else? The capture, the thing that they wanted to capture the girl. and they're allowing her to leave was very I felt like, okay, there are some things in the movie that didn't necessarily make the movie flow very well. As everybody has talked about, like as much as I loved the Max scene, the scene with the Max dancer, yes. Did I think it was ridiculous when I first saw it? I was like, this does not really gel well with the genre. But you know what? I like it. It's cool. It's nice. Would it have been better and tighter than the way Elizabeth said? Yes. Yes, absolutely yes. Is this movie two movies mashing two genres was it shocking? Was the transition a little bit jarring? Yeah, but it was cool. Both side of it was entertaining. Um yeah, most things that most people, everything that Cynthia was saying, true, right? I just especially love the fact where this person is talking about like creating a banking system using the blockchain, and I'm just like, okay, no, that doesn't happen. But whatever, it's the way tech. That's the way the techie world speaks. Like a really well, maybe the online techie world, but. And I kind of like was like, okay, whatever. I feel like it was more of a fun ride. The third act, yes, it was more of a fun ride. And I feel like a lot of the cinematography and some of the performance was able to distract me enough. I mean, it's not like I didn't know, like was able to distract me enough from it. Yes, exactly what Mel says. The writing, like what's her name? Zainab didn't do nothing for herself. I'm like, how is she even? But like, okay, whatever. She's there to be pretty, whatever. I was kind of, yeah, like it's not what everybody says about the movie. Sure, but did I enjoy the movie? Yes. Was it entertaining enough? Yes. That's it, honestly.
All right. Thanks.
That's it.
Thanks, Ayanka. Mrs. C, stuff you did not like in this movie.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to that police station that all of you like, and tell you people that yes, it looked pretty. A Nigerian police station has never been accused of looking pretty, and I don't think it will ever be accused of looking pretty in my lifetime. Nice aesthetics, however, no. I
have to say, it took my third watch to
realize it was a prison because I wasn't sure where he was. When I watched it, I thought they had taken him back to the company. Yeah, so I thought they picked him up and they were holding him at the company. And then she goes to Lai's house to beg for them to release her husband. And he calls DPO, and DPO says it's Friday, right? It will be Monday. I'm like, what? That's a police station. You're taking the piss.
Yeah.
That's not a police station. It's not. There are some kind of films, right? There's a film where that works. This is not that film, right? Even just throwing this ballroom scene in there, this is not that film, right? It's trying to be this like set in realism, working hard, trying to get through Nigeria. And it's like, why are you throwing me in
pretty
whimsy of the lights of this heart-to-heart in a bloody police station? This heart-to-heart could have worked in a gritty, normal-looking police station. It could have been it could have been probably more impactful. Didn't need the lights behind them, right?
Yes.
But sure, let's throw that in there because better use of time and money than a script. That third act, like Cynthia said, yes, I figured out their intentions for me. That thought that carried me go where I don't know. It really was a different film. It really was a different film, that last bit, and it went back to the setup, and I did not like the setup. I thought the setup set out to hurt me, and that was the final act. It succeeded. The setup really hurt me.
But a lot of people like that film.
Yes, that is true.
A lot of filmmakers like that film. I have
heard some blasphemy that's better than this film, and I will fight it. But that's beside the point.
Yes, when we're doing the setup too,
what do you mean when?
Because we'll probably revisit it just in time for the setup
too.
Yeah, we'll probably do the setup.
No, we'll share our view, and that's what we'll have to see on it.
Okay.
Anyway, so yeah, there was that. Then I remember this scene where homegirl is, I don't think she was in a cab. I think she was in a bathroom. She was by herself. She was on the phone talking to someone about how, oh, this her new boss is basically a slave driver. He's trying to get her to do like stuff, basically the impossible. And like, oh, she even regrets joining this company. She's talking to someone we don't see, right? But she's complaining about the conditions we've seen her having to work in, right? This is telling me that when they wrote this thing, they hadn't accounted for that twist, right? They hadn't accounted for the twist that she was his daughter, right? Because she's working for her dad. Who is she talking to that she's complaining about her boss, right? Being a slave driver, right? Or regretting joining the company. She didn't have a choice but to join this company, right? When they give us the revelation of her twist, right? It's, oh, she'd had a mishap at her startup that she founded, and her dad has convinced her that people are coming after her, right? So she's joining this company to lay low. That's a very different person from someone who had options, was a lead speaker at whatever, and chose this startup and is like, oh, why did I choose this startup? They're, you know, whatever, they're expecting me to work miracles. So it means like, or what it's given is somebody wrote this thing to the end and did not account for that twist. You didn't write that twist into this story. You added it on to the story, right? For the sake of it being a twist, which is given the setup. Yes, the reveals fell flat. It's already been revealed to us that she's his daughter, right? We're seeing that, and then she's in the car, and then she ends the call, and then she goes, Dad. Which of you have ended a call with your father, or when you're speaking to your dad, right, and you want to add dad to it, do you take a pause and then go,
a dramatic pause? You don't do dramatic pauses.
No, I'm not trying to inform anyone that my father's my father in the middle of a conversation. I don't have an audience.
Oh, I love that.
Maybe that's a me problem. Maybe because I don't have an audience.
I have an audience all the time.
Apologies.
I take Nollywood Film Club everywhere.
Everywhere you go. I'm going to have to start doing dramatic pauses every time I say dad, just before I say dad, because what the hell. Yes. Temi Otedola, I think she's such a delightful person. I really do. And I think her acting is not the worst. I think there's definitely room for improvement. And I think she can afford the improvement. Right? Like, how much is acting coach? Her daddy can afford it. She can afford it. I think she has potential to be better. It was the same thing with Citation. It's putting the burden of a lead role on her in Citation, I don't think was fair. And I think it's the same here. I think she was given too much to do. Not as much as Citation, obviously, but I don't think she's there yet. I think it's possible. I think it's possible. I think she can get there. I just don't think she's there yet. I think she's just terrible. I think she tried to stay muted and stuff, but leave me alone. It's haunting my dreams. Leave me alone.
Don't say it.
They could have redone that, right? She wasn't the one in water, right? They could have done another take of her going, leave me alone. That leave me alone was such an isolated scene, right? It could have been redone.
Yeah, because like it cuts to her.
Yes, right? It cuts to her. We could have done that again.
20 takes.
I know, do and if it's easy. But honestly, I wasn't asking anyone to dry out Ini Edo and push her back in the water. I'm saying that person who is dry, facing the pool, saying, leave me alone. Tell her to take it again. Or cut that line out. Because it was bad. It was bad. Anyway, I say this because, I don't know, I think I sound a bit harsh, but it was because I quite liked the first half of this film. And the first 45 minutes to an hour, and I liked what was going on there, and I thought it was going somewhere and then it gave me the setup, and what else did I have a problem with? Mr. Lai's motivations. I thought his motivations were absolutely terrible. He's a rich man. He can afford He can afford to buy his daughter a citizenship to Dominica while holding on to her British passport, right? All for a ruse. So I don't understand him doing all of that to steal 500 million. Is it 300 million? I don't understand it. It doesn't work. It doesn't make sense. The motivation of he's been cooking the books would have worked, right? Motivation of he's actually broke. It's all a facade.
Points.
I know. I'm saying if I made a good point, isn't it? But it would have worked, right? But that motivation did not work. Zena being the actual villain could have worked, right? She's in a bind. She's in a tough situation. It doesn't look like her father is shaking body, right? She steals this money to buy her Dominican passport and leave the country. That works, right? Or she's not related to Lai at all. She comes in there, right? And the idea of, I thought I would like the idea of like this young girl coming in here and bamboozling everybody, acting all innocent, and then stealing all of the money. That could have worked. Also, Arokwe messing with the code to steal the money because he saw that they stole his code. A big fuck you to them, and him still getting his justices and making his money would have worked. There was so much in that film that could have worked. And they went with something that didn't work for the twist.
Yeah, for the twist now.
That was a very obvious for the twist. And I felt insulted by that. And let down, just let down, because you have so much, but you want this push to give you the unexpected. And sometimes, just because I can see why something happened and I can see that, yes, this checks out, doesn't mean you haven't given me suspense or surprise. There's nothing wrong with there being coherence. You can't sacrifice coherence for surprise, right? Every twist should make sense. I don't have to see it coming, right? But your twist should be, I should see your twist and go, oh, I don't need your flashbacks to make me go, oh, right? I see your twist and be like, oh yeah, shit, that makes sense.
Yes.
Not that you pulled it out of a hat to give me surprise. So it was that whole story, all of those twists. It took me back to the setup, and that was very upsetting. And it was just, I think it's more upsetting because it could have worked. It really could have worked. Even like, because I know it felt like two different stories, but like if they decided to throw in the money being stolen through the software and all of that, it really could have worked. It really could have worked. They just decided not to make it work.
Okay.
And that's me.
So how do you really feel? All right. Okay. So thanks, Miss C. That's quite that's the version. Sorry, I've been trying to get other people. Sorry. I've been trying to get other people onto the space. Other people's comments are pinned on the space, but I just haven't been able to do it because Spaces is glitching. But sorry, I'm just gonna read a couple before I say some more bad. Somebody said the movie is not good. The directors should focus on learning to be better director and leaving the writing to writers. We can't keep claiming them as one of our top directors. All right, okay. Thanks, Black Sun. Baba Jide said Ava is right. The movie was gripping in some parts. I spent plenty of time trying to clock who the criminal really is. So we'll do from my perspective, the things that didn't quite work for me. Interesting enough, this film, again, because I think I enjoyed quite a bit that first part, and it just felt. And I was, Mrs. C laid out some of the potential places it could have gone that I would have been really satisfied with, or that would have been interesting way and just more coherent way to land the plane. And it did go in this more convoluted way. But because once all of this twists start to happen, honestly, I checked out. I checked out, and I checked out almost I've seen this film 3 times. I checked out every time it started doing that again, and I was looking at beautiful gowns. That when people say turn your brain off, that's what I did. but like when you turn your brain off, like you don't enjoy the story, you don't even like take in any of those parts. Yeah, I wasn't really giving it a lot of my attention, and that's probably a bad thing. But there's some minor things that I guess worth mentioning. I think people have mentioned that ballroom scene, and one of the worst parts of the worst part of that ballroom scene is like it seemed like from what was said about the BTS is that a lot was spent um, in setting that up, but the way it's edited is so bad. It keeps on going from. It seems like they did that in one take, and to keep on cutting from this wide shot to the singer, to the wide shot to the singer, to the wide shot to the singer in ways that it didn't work for me rhythmically. Is that a word? Yeah, it didn't work for me in that sense. But what it definitely did do was take away from whatever choreography that was being done. And again, I really feel like that was probably done in one take. It took away from the choreography and then it took away from the singing, because what would have happened is they would have just been able to just um, use actually the things she did sing and just put it on, and it wouldn't look like you know sort of bad bad miming. I'm not usually bothered by that, but I'm just saying that's a consequence of how it was edited. Is like it makes everything look, number one, a little choppy, not very good with the flow. It takes away from the apparent choreography. Although honestly, I didn't really see it. Didn't seem that flashy to me. But yeah, I didn't like a lot of the choices they made with the in the editing room in post production. And when I looked at the editor, it's not my favorite editor, if I'm going to be honest. But it is what it is, I guess. There's some sound issues, like there are in most Nollywood films, with mixing and things coming from different sources and at different times with different treatments and post productions on things like that. Oh, I didn't mention this in the things that I liked. I did like the colors. I thought it was nice. So that's another knee work. But yeah, I don't know. This film isn't as annoying as the setup for me. I think because number one, the setup already happened, and and I was just able to check out and just I guess not bother about the last part. People who can't complete it, I don't blame you guys. That freeze, I think there's like a freeze in which again it feels reminiscent of almost the Blood Sisters ending. It's sort of, oh, we're all here around in a circle. What's gonna happen? Yeah, I don't care for that. Yeah, that's to borrow Cynthia's terminology that I will now be using forever. Hollywood pick and drop, where it just feels completely out of place. Where we borrowed a trope without really knowing, without thinking about how to incorporate it into the script. But I didn't find there's nothing more I can say that I just didn't find anything in that second half. It was, I could tell it was just convoluted, and it wasn't something that was satisfying at all. But I guess I enjoyed that first half enough. All right. Thanks for all the people who have been submitting in comments. We're going to do our summaries now, but remember you can review this on Nolly Data. And we do these discussions every Sunday at 6 o'clock. So we're going to get into our summaries. And Elizabeth, you can start.
Okay, summary is that, because I'd like to say that I like when a movie references the title in the movie. So here we have Zina say Joseph is the man for the job. It was just rather disappointing that this man for the job, who was supposed to be this smart person, didn't know that he was writing codes to hack and steal money from users. That was a very poor choice in writing. I'm so sorry. I can't forgive this movie for that. Also, I felt the writing was abysmal. It was just twist for twisting sake. I enjoyed the first half. It had a lot of heart. I didn't mind that it was slowish, but because usually when you're following characters and their internal conflict and struggle, you tend to, you wouldn't mind the pacing, just go along. So first half, watchable if you can ignore the tech blunders. I mean, well, if you do not understand tech blunders, you still enjoy the first half, but then the other half, all the audience reveals, very underwhelming. Overall, I mean, I really enjoyed the first half. The last half, I really, really, really mad. I will not recommend it. But I will recommend it to my friends so they can laugh. All right, bye.
Wow. All right. Thanks, Elizabeth. All right. Fida, do you want to give us a summary of what you thought of the man for the job?
All right. My summary. I feel like Man for the Job is something that you can watch. I mean, if you can watch it and enjoy the first half, and if you're okay being confused towards the end, that's fine. If you also look at it like, okay, I'm going to watch this movie, like Mr. C said, you switch off your part of your brain. Yes, I felt that when I with certain parts of the movies, and it's fine. I still like the movie. I still like the movie for what it is. I feel like careful. I feel like Nee is quite ambitious with his writing. I like his directing, I like his cinematography, but he's quite ambitious. And I love ambition. The thing is that with the ambition of his writing, it just needs to be tighter. And like they said, like, even though somebody said that he should focus on being a better director, maybe he should also focus on doing better with his writing. There's nothing wrong with being a director that writes their own movies, just be tighter, just know what you're trying to do. Let your writing match your ambition. Me, I like his movies. Me, I like Day of Destiny, that time travel movie. The fact that he's doing animation now. So, and for me, it's funny. I didn't know nobody really liked the setup. I love the setup. So I'm looking forward to where we talk about it on this club, because it's because of this club that I'm now able to like critically analyze and see the holes in movies. I was just watching movies and enjoying them. So I would recommend this movie. If you liked the setup, yes, come and watch this movie again with me. And yeah, that's what I would say. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Fida. Yeah, no, I was saying that because a lot of people do like the setup. It's just us, really, us in the film club. Yes. Thanks, Fida. Mel, do you want to give us a summary?
Sure thing. So what's my summary? I think my summary is that my first summary would be that the most exciting parts of the film for me, I do not think were the parts that the I do not think where the parts that the filmmaker was convinced were the most exciting parts. Because the most exciting parts of the film for me was definitely not the heist. It was just this everyday man. I guess this really intelligent everyday man, his really supportive wife, with his really sick son. Like that already is a setup for a very rewarding film going experience. All the other I did not think they needed that. I thought that it just really watered down just the strength of this family that felt relatable, and I feel like it's been a long time in Nollywood that I have seen something and just felt this feels relatable. I thought that was the most exciting part for me. I thought that a lot of parts of the film, so this is the proper summary, I think, but a lot of parts of the film just felt like afterthoughts. They felt like just late throw-ins, just random midnight. I woke up from the dream and just added this part in. It just felt, I think maybe disjointed is the word. And again, it just helps to water down what was already a really good story in the making at the beginning. I hope that the end was not an indication for part two, because dear Lord, I don't think we need a part two. I don't think anything about the man for the job needs further fleshing out, please. But that's about it. I didn't hate the watching experience, but I don't think I'd watch it again either. Yeah, that's it for me.
All right, thanks, Elizabeth. Tess, do you give us a summary?
Yeah, so I watch movies because of the story. Like I'm not a technical girl. I don't know anything about sound, and I thought that the first half of The Man for the Job was really solid, and I hope, like, I would like to conclude that movie, but I still haven't finished the movie. I still have 5 minutes left, so that's exciting. And I don't know that I will finish the movie, and I wouldn't watch it again just primarily for the second half. I thought that they had set up the movie in the first hour, right up till he gets the job as a manager of the other branch, to have a good ending. And they could have honestly just continued on with this subplot plot to a smaller degree and resolved it a lot sooner than they did without all the twists and turns. And it just falls flat there when they go from a heartwarming movie with a terrible sex scene to Glamour Girls 2 without the flash drives. But yeah.
Thank you, Tess. Yeah. All right. So, Tammy, do you want to give us a summary of what you thought for The Man for the Job?
Sure, of course. Well, the movie had its high moments. Well, just a few good moments. The one I liked the most was Uzor's performance, and there were other moments like the swimming pool scene and the masquerade ball. Apart from that, the most exciting moment for me when it comes to this movie was when it ended. Sorry, but that's the truth. And I've got to say that I agree with what some of the other people here are saying. If there's a part two, I wouldn't want to watch it. In fact, whoever even dreams of coming up with a part two, I'll shoot them myself. But seriously, it could have been a bit better. It could have been so much better. I mean, the writing was admissible. The camera angles were okay in certain areas, but in other places, in most places actually, they could have done a better job at directing. Because if they had, it could have been more exciting. Unfortunately, I was thinking of making myself some coffee as I was watching this because it was so bloody boring. So that's it for me. I've watched it once. I never even want to talk about it again. So please do not do a part two to this chat. Thank you.
No, thanks, Tammy. Wait till we do a setup film club discussion. All right. Cynthia, if you give us a summary, please.
Yeah, like I said, the first half of the movie, the first 1 hour, I enjoyed it. When I started watching, I did not go to pick any techie dialogue. I ignored it. I continued watching, and I was happy. Then when I got to the second half of the movie and everything started going upside down, I was like, oh my God. So yeah, is it yeah, and I mean when I finished this movie, I had to check if there was one writer or two writers because that first half of the movie was different from how the second half was written, but I mean it's one writer. So is we just have one writer. So because I enjoyed the first half of the movie, I didn't pick any techie dialogue the first time I watched it, or when I was watching the first half until I got to the second half, where I recommend this movie. Yes, okay. So I recommend it with a warning. Okay, I enjoyed the first 1 hour. When you get to the second 1 hour, please do not say I am the one that recommended it for you, or do not be angry when you don't like it. Okay, so the first half is good. If you can ignore a lot of the techie dialogues and just go in, and if you don't even know a lot of tech things, you might not pick any of the problem, because these guys were talking about base module in Python, and their base module was SMM. The language was markup language, and even their Python script. But we're not going to pick on it. So I mean, like, I'll definitely recommend this film. But please, when you reach 1 hour point oh one, anything you see, please take it. You just continue if you can continue, or you stop if you can stop. But please enjoy the first half.
Thanks, Cynthia. Ainka. Ainka. A summary, please.
My summary. Okay, this movie is not as bad as the setup. Come on, guys. But like, I can see why people are saying it, but it's not as bad as the setup. The setup was ridiculous. To watch this, okay, I would recommend it. I would say, look, it's it's an okay movie. Yes, does it do the thing about like the way it talks about tech and all that stuff very stupidly? Yes. Do some things come? Is it two different genres of movies that like are tied up together? Yes, but yes. Is it kind of jarring, and that sort of thing did not happen smoothly? A little bit jarring, yes. But like I would say, you can watch it and you won't. It would. I don't think you waste your time watching it, because there are things that you can enjoy from it. The ballroom scene is enjoyable. Some of the performances are enjoyable. You get to have like a movie with heart in the first half. Yes. A lot of running around, kind of computer something. Like it's okay if you're going to stay and watch maybe the Expendables and all those type of what's it called, movies. You can also watch this one and just watch it and enjoy the something. It's not too bad that you pull your head out. It's okay. It's okay. That's my recommendation. It's okay. Like we should never be expecting like what's it called, the most super movie whenever we watch movies. Like most movies are going to be okay. Some movies are going to be great. Some movies are going to be shite. Hey, so like it's okay so far you have an okay something, and so far you don't watch shite. That's all you can really really thank for. And once in a while you watch great movies. That's it.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Ainka. Ava,
Yeah.
please share your summaries of The Man for the Job.
Okay, yeah. So I enjoyed the movie. I see a lot of people do not like the setup here. Well, man. Yeah, I really love this film club. I like the setup. I do feel you get one major twist, two, three at the most. After that, you're just pushing it. But let's not get into that. I really enjoyed Man for the Job anyway. I didn't understand the tech dialogue because I'm not a tech guy, so that really doesn't matter to me. I know people didn't like the plane at the end. Yeah, you know what? The film is not really about planes, so that's fine for me too. You get. I just feel like my only grass is like I just didn't like that they were using the pianos and they were so slow. Imagine you're doing this big reveal and then you're playing slow pianos. I think when people say, "Oh, the film was boring," I think they found it boring. I think a lot of it because when you're watching a movie, you don't really listen to the music. You just feel the emotion the music is telling you to feel. So when a slow piano is playing and something so monumental is supposed to be happening, it takes a lot of the emotion away from the scene. So, it's not the fault of the composer. The guy is actually insanely talented. He did King of Thieves, which I love. So it's not, I think it was just the choice to have it there. I think it just should have been, maybe they were trying to go for a kind of noir type feel with the soundtrack. I don't know. I just don't know. But all in all, completely enjoyable movie. I loved it. And I think if people would, just try to I don't know, give it another chance, you'd probably really like it. And just try to listen for those slow pianos. They are there a lot. And if you can get past that, you would enjoy the movie and you really just have a good time, like I did. I would recommend it to people, but I would tell them, look, there's a lot of slow pianos there. Do not get bored with it. Just stick with the story, and I think you would like it.
Okay, thanks, Ava. That's an interesting way to frame it. Mrs. C, I think that's everybody on here. Mrs. C.
I would recommend it with caveats. I would recommend it with caveats that it's two different films. First one a lot better than the second. Uzo Arakwe, beautiful, beautiful man. I love him. He does always deliver, and no one should ever make him do that glamour girls thing again. Yeah, I think that's about it. It's two different films, room for improvement with Temi Otedola. First half was Ineda's best performance I've seen in a while. I want more of that from her. And we need to stop with the twists just because of twists. We need to write the twists into the story and not just tack it on and expect us to just take it like that. Let's not do that again.
All right. Now, weirdly, I guess I'm somewhere in between. I think, I'm somewhere in between Cynthia and Ava here. Weirdly, like I don't do the turn your brain off advice, because I don't think you can do that. It happens. And it happened for me in this movie, but that's not a good sign. But like, it did mean that I just didn't take offense to the things. But again, that happened is not a good sign that your movie made me just stop caring and stop trying to give a crap of what I was looking at. I did still enjoy that first half. Again, that Mrs. C's bit of a rant during her bad, which I thought was really well articulated, had some of what I was hoping would be the options, or what would have been just much more satisfying. I'd say I have to disagree, Ava. Every time I watch this, I just keep on cringing, because when you start seeing parts that those twists were trying to explain, but like if you watch them from the beginning, it just, again, like the setup, the choices they're making just keep on becoming more peculiar and more strange. It's not for me, that second half. Well, so I don't know. I may generally recommend every Nollywood film except if it really, really offends my core. So this is one of those ones with the caveat that you might not really like that second half. But like, if you like the setup, you probably will really like this film. Yes, Onyeka, by the way, I was thinking this is better than the setup. Yeah. Anyway, thanks so much to everybody who's come through. This was another fun discussion. Next Sunday is not Kiniko. This is the Sunday after that one. So I'll put up a poll for people who for what film we should talk about. Please.
Please, I just want to say something. Please don't put the setup in that poll. I don't want to watch it again. Thank you. That's the only request. I'm generally going with everybody, but that's my only request. Thank you.
No worries. Yes. All right. Don't forget, you can review this film on Nollywood Film Club. It's one of our most recent tweets. It's also the first pinned tweet on here, if you can get on it. But if not, like, go to Nolly Data, search for the man for the job. It's right there. But until next time, we'll see you guys next Sunday, where we'll have another discussion about another Nollywood film. Thank you so much, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the episode. If you enjoyed listening and would like to join live, just follow us on Twitter at IrokoCritic. and join us every Sunday, 6 p.m. West African time on our spaces.